Hey folks, you can now listen to Idioms on several podcast outlets. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Go to any one of those and search Idioms David Dyer and subscribe. And welcome to Idioms Episode 15. I'm your host, David Dyer, and Idioms is my mini-cast. 5 minutes at the most. It's like a podcast version of a mayfly. And as the name implies, I talk about idioms. Those phrases we use in everyday conversation that seem completely out of place, yet you know exactly what they mean by the way they're being used. Good. So let's go. This is Idioms Episode 15, and the idiom we're going to cover today is kick the bucket. You've heard it. Well, I planned on making a documentary about my beer can collection with some buddies from work, but once my wife caught wind of how much time they'd be spending at the house, that idea kicked the bucket. Literal meaning: to use your foot and or leg to propel a cylinder container across the room. Contextual meaning: a phrase used to describe someone or something as dead. So let's explore the origin. Let's just say this, folks. Not all the stories behind these things are going to be full of unicorns and lollipops, and today's one of those episodes. Even though the phrase is used primarily today in a comical manner, some of the stories behind it are pretty grim. So let's do our best to keep our composure like Dr. Fauci at the pandemic press briefings and delve right into it by getting the real downer out of the way first. According to UrbanDictionary.com, the saying was born a long time ago when a common way to end someone's own life was by hanging. And as I'm sure you can guess, one of the ways to do it was to stand on a bucket and kick it out from under you when you were ready to end it all. Ugh, I know. I guess if there's any kind of silver lining in this thing, it's that time seems to heal all wounds, and well, today we use it to make people laugh, right? Now let's try and move towards something a little less depressing, but not much. Because Vocabulary.com says nothing about suicide. Instead, they say the origin comes from the old French word bouquet, which in 16th century England was actually pronounced bucket. You see, a bucket was actually a beam that was used to tie up livestock in the process of slaughtering for market. The animal would be tied to the bucket and would be kicking and have spasms even after its life had ended, thus kicking the bucket. Darn it. I'm sorry, everyone. All right, we're going to give it one more try here. Now, the idioms.com is going to try to finally throw some positive light on this one because they say there's a chance, and for Christ's sake, let's hope so, that it comes from the Catholic Church. Long ago, it was quite common when someone passed for a priest to put a bucket of holy water at the feet of the body during the viewing. That way, friends, relatives, and loved ones could pay their respects by taking some water from the bucket and sprinkling it on the body in hopes that it would better their journey into the next life. They say the imagery of the bucket being near the feet of someone who'd passed is where the phrase kick the bucket may have come from. My gosh, let's hope so we can all sleep better tonight. Wow. This is a heavy one, and I gotta be honest, I didn't expect it to be so dark because my first experience of the phrase, or the implication of the phrase, is a great memory. In the 1963 movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, the opening scene shows an on-the-run Jimmy Durante sailing off the side of a mountain in his car only to crash below and meet his demise. However, before he dies, he reveals a clue to a group of strangers who witnessed the crash as to the whereabouts of a hidden fortune. He says his last words, takes a gasp, and kicks a metal bucket down the hill that just happened to be next to his feet. Maybe it doesn't sound funny after hearing this episode about the hangings and the slaughterings and the afterlife, but trust me, when you're 8, eating popcorn and drinking soda with your dad, it's classic. So that's it. Episode 15 of Idioms is complete, and you can say arrivederci. I'm your host, David Dyer. Thanks for listening. Check back for new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, but until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.